Mercedes project. Today we're going to start on our passenger side fender, and one of the first things I need to do is start removing the paint from around this area. I need to grind all this back so I can find my bucket where it attaches in, because that's where we're going to start to rebuild this fender at. That's where I started on the other side. I got the bucket out. Then I was able to take the new headlight bucket, which is the one piece I can get for the front of this fender, and set that in there. And then I started to make pieces to go around the bucket that would attach it to where I still have solid metal here in the front. Like this side here is pretty solid, and up and around here should be okay. So we'll be able to get the bucket in and get it attached, and then we can build off the bucket from there back as far as we need to. I can see from the side here that we're probably going to be coming back somewhere in this general area, and probably about the same distance on the top as we did the other side, about this far. So we have to make fabricate some patch pieces to go in there. I've got one body line here to contend with, which was really nothing too extravagant to have to make. It's just a little body line they got in the side here that has to be there because it does carry into the headlight trim piece that goes on here. It actually has that body line in it also. So that's what we're going to get started with today, and then I'm going to walk you through all the steps to rebuilding this fender. Alright, so I spent a few minutes grinding away the paint and the Bondo that's in here on the front of the headlight bucket. Just trying to get an idea how much there is in here. Of course, basically this whole bottom of this headlight bucket is fiberglass, matte, fiberglass Bondo, regular Bondo. This outer edge, you can kind of see how thick the Bondo is in here. It's really extensive. There's a lot of brazing that was going on here. So this repair was done a long time ago, because nobody really brazes anything anymore. So this gives me the ability to find the spot welds. They're little tiny spot welds all along here. And all this braze has to be cut away. I want to try and leave as much of this fender lip as I can, so that I can set my bucket in where this one, which is the original one, was at, so that I can get my placement correct. Once I've got it set in there and I get it attached over here and the bottom here, which this is in pretty good shape. The other side I had to rebuild all this along the bottom of this bucket, but I think I can reuse this here on this side. So I can reattach my bucket along this edge, which will remain the original pieces of the car, and that'll keep it where it's supposed to be. And then I can start to make my flanges that will go around here to reform my fender shape. That'll give me my fender shape. From there, I'll build back and down the sides and wherever else needs to be repaired. So that's what we got to do next, is go ahead and start drilling out our spot welds and get this old headlight bucket removed. Alright, I've been grinding and picking away at this. I I've drilled out my spot welds along the top here that I could find. I don't think that this piece is actually attached to anything except Bondo anymore. So I don't know how much of a help this is really going to be. I'm going to have to approach this side a little different than the other side. The other side had a little bit more of the structure left in certain places for me to get this headlight bucket set into. So I may have to leave most of the repair work that was done before here so that I can put my bucket in and know where it's supposed to sit. I've got my bottom section here is all good, so that's a plus. And this section here is all still good. So these are going to be my two main guiding areas here. Now this edge, I don't believe any of it is left. I think what I have here with this metal that's left is the original headlight bucket, and the rest of it just had Bondo over top of it. There was a small patch piece in here that was folded over. I took that out of my way. So my outer edge here is going to be up to my creative abilities to remake it. So I'm going to continue on. I've about got it loose. I need to just a few areas up here. Where it's getting difficult is that the top of this fender is just nothing but Bondo, and the Bondo is attached to the top of this headlight bucket. So when I take the headlight bucket out, I'm going to lose this entire top of the fender because there's nothing there. It's just nothing there. It's just all plastic body filler. And I was really hoping that this will stay. I don't think it's going to, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to go back to work on this and work on getting this out the rest of the way. All right, a few minutes later, I've still been chipping away, and as you can see, there's more of this missing. As I thought, the outer edge here, which is this piece, it was here. Pretty much this is the headlight bucket. So what was supposed to be the fender was non-existent. They just used the headlight bucket, fiberglassed this in, and then built this up with Bondo and shaped it and made a fender again. We're not going to do that. So that's out. This piece up here, which is part of the original part of the fender, is just a thin strip of metal that was attached to the headlight bucket. There's not really any metal up here on the top, just as like I thought of the fender. Big lump of Bondo here holding everything together. So this is pretty much loose, ready to come out, sort of, kind of. Like I said, I think all of this here is going to disappear. Yep, pretty much. So there's our headlight bucket. So there's what's left of our headlight bucket. And this is just a mass of Bondo. They used the top of the bucket and just kept building and building and building and building with the plastic body filler until they had the fender back as high in shape as it should be. Masterful sculpting job, I must say, because other than some bubbling that was in the side of this fender, I would have never imagined that the entire top of this fender, including this body line, was plastic body filler. I've run into this before. There are some master sculptors out there building cars. So this is what you get. when you come across one of those. So we're going to go ahead and fix this with metal and do it the right way and build us a Fender again. I think what I'm going to do next is just clean up around this edge, get this nice and flat and not have any imperfections of stuff in here. Bondo, get the Bondo out, get the brass brazing rod out of here because you can't weld brass. And I'm going to get my new headlight bucket and fit it in here. See how much of this old Bondo I need to trim back just to have the bucket sit in there where it needs to be. And then we'll start building our pieces. Alright, I lowered you down to give you another angle to look at this from. So, I've got the lip cleaned up around here pretty well. A little couple of spots here. This is what we get. Let's try to fit this in here. Alright. So, the bucket is supposed to go behind the fender. Now, the only reference place that I have really is right here. Anywhere where the weld nuts are in the headlight bucket for the trim that goes on the headlight, there is a little indentation in the sheet metal that goes around that, or they're supposed to be, wherever there's sheet metal at. So this one is the only one I have to use as a guide. So I have to work this thing as best I can right there. And this fits pretty tight right here. It's conforming pretty nicely. It sits against this bottom piece really nice. And then I've got nothing. So I don't have to, this is all I have to go by. So I'm going to run a couple of screws, self-tapping screws in here to hold this piece, because that's all I have to use. Now I had to knock a big chunk of Bondo out of here, because as that one had holes in it, it was just, the Bondo that was left was keeping this bucket from sitting up high enough in the opening here. So I think I need to grind a little bit more away here and some off of this side here, just so I can get it to float a little bit better in there. And then I'll go ahead and run, like I said, I'll probably run 3 self-tapping screws in here. That'll hold it in place. And then I can go ahead and I'll start making pieces to go around these outer edges here to replace the missing parts of the fender. And that'll give me a flange here to build my fender off of. Okay, well, I ground around inside of here so I can get this up where it needs to be. Again, these are actual Mercedes parts, so I know these are correct. It's not like aftermarket reproduction. These come right from Mercedes, so they are made exactly the way the original ones were made. So everything fits really nice. I've said that before on this car with these panels. So I've got this in here. I got a clamp on here holding it. I've got my one headlight trim mounting nut cert located in the indentation. So I'm going to go ahead and run a few screws in this side. So that'll give me a spot to build off of. Drill. And I'm just using some self-drilling tech screws. We're going to put one up here. Well, let me put one down here first. I got a little too close there. Well, that'll work. That'll hold it in there well enough for us to start making some new pieces to build out our Fender. Alright, so I'm starting to make my flanges for around this headlight opening. Basically what I'm using is, this is some of the leftover pieces from the wheelhouses I bought for this car for the driver's side rear. I didn't need to replace the entire wheelhouse, so I sectioned it. You saw on previous videos on this car. So I've been using pieces of these to make repairs where needed on the rest of this car. So I just cut this lower section out. And basically it gives me my bend so I don't have to bend it. But I'm having to reshape this because it's got a little bit of a curvature this way, and then down here it kind of kicks out this way. So I'm just using my shrinker stretcher set to kind of work this around until I can get it to the right shape that I need. And then I can go ahead and scribe on the back of this the outline of this headlight bucket and trim it, put my relief in for my weld nut that's on here, so I'll be able to screw the trim piece in without having to go through this piece. So that's basically how I'm going to make all of these pieces. I'll probably use preformed sections out of more of the wheelhouses, come around the top with it. So I'm going to come all the way around, probably to about just above this screw, and make new pieces for it and get them welded in. Now up here, this here section has, it's shaped like this, right in through here to fit the headlight piece, because it is kind of got a concave form to it, just like it does down here. It kicks this way, up here it kicks this way, the center is pretty much flat. So this is these are kind of intricate pieces, but if you do them in smaller sections, it's not as hard to make the pieces. Trying to make this all in one piece would be almost impossible. So this will probably end up being at least minimum 1, 2, 3, maybe minimum 4 pieces, possibly 5. Depends on how these pieces want to move. Like I said, making smaller pieces is easier than trying to make them out of one big piece. So I'm going to keep stretching and shrinking on this piece here to get my shape where I need it. And then I'll bring you back once I've got it ready to attach to my headlight bucket.
I want to be in the video!
Alright, you ready? Hang on.
I want to turn on the video.
It's already on.
But what time I turn on the video?
No, I touched the camera.
Huh?
Okay, you ready? We're going to go. No? Okay, you did it. We're going. Okay, so I've been working on this a little bit, this piece, getting it shaped out. Ashton's here with me now. He's up from his nap he took on the way home from school today. How was school today, Ashton?
I played with pipe.
Played with pipe.
Yeah, it was little pipes and stuck together.
Oh, you put them together and make things with them?
And we make the real pipe.
Made a real pipe?
Yeah, it's right.
All right.
And we got a pipe like this.
Okay.
And an X pipe.
Nice. Sounds like you had a fun day. So now we're going to do this. We're going to attach this piece I've been making to this headlight bucket. See, I've got it all shaped, and I've got the surfaces ground down so I get a good
We have to put
bond.
this one on too.
I'm not ready for that one yet. I got to make that other piece.
I want to put on this piece.
All right, well, let everybody see what I'm doing. So just step back over here just a little bit. There you go.
Oh,
So this piece will go on here like this. I've got some holes drilled in it so I can do some plug welds. Again, I don't have a lot of surface area to work with, so these are going to be, these holes are kind of small. Hopefully they hold. But this will be my start to my flanges that are going to go around here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the welder fired up and weld these on.
And I want to talk about the whole car.
You tell everybody about the whole car. Go ahead.
You haven't talked with me though. Oh, this one is so
Alright, so I'm just going to hold this on here.
Put that on there? Yes, put that on there.
Alright, watch your eyes. I'm going to weld this. Oh, no peeking. Alright, okay, so I got this piece attached, and basically I'm going to finish going around this headlight bucket. I'm not going to bore you with every piece I make. They're all going to basically be the same procedure. Form it to the shape of the edge of this bucket. Short flange piece, then weld them on. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because to make a piece of the fender that comes in and then attaches with this flange piece and trying to get this angle and this angle off of a bigger piece is not a very easy thing to do. So make these short pieces, then I'll bring my side pieces in and we'll just lap them over top of this and weld everything up, grind everything down nice and smooth, and then that'll give us our fender back. So what do you think, Ashton? Are we going to be able to get this fender fixed up, make it look like a good fender again? Yeah, we got a new headlight to go in here with the headlight bucket. Well, we didn't. It's in the box of parts that we have sitting over in the garage.
I want to talk about this car now.
All right, well, we're going to end this video now.
Okay, I turn it off. I see you. I see you on the camera.
Ashton's being the cameraman now. So that's going to be the end of this video on the beginning of our fender repairs. We're going to have several parts to this, 2, maybe 3 parts on the video. I don't want them to be too long. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this bucket and leave this ready for me to start forming the other pieces for the fender and getting those fabricated and installed. And that'll be part 2 of our fender repair on the 69 Mercedes 280 SL project. Thanks for following along.
Pop. Next week behind you.
No, we're not going to work on that one. We're going to keep working on this red car here for a while.
But next week we work on that car.
No. All right,
when are we going to work on that car?
Let's say goodbye to everyone. Tell them thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Tell them like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe.
And what are we going to do? We'll see you again soon.
See you again soon.